What a complete mess. At 1 a.m. last night, Donald Trump posted on Truth Social claiming Iran truly wants to make a deal. That is a direct quote. Well, just minutes ago, we learned that Iran is backing out of talks with the United States. They are leaving negotiations and will not give up anything as long as our supposed ally, Israel, continues to escalate tensions in the Middle East. So, not only is Israel becoming a liability during this war, but we also have a leader in the United States who clearly lacks a coherent strategy in any meaningful sense. Donald Trump believed this would be exactly like Venezuela, where you remove the head and the rest of the body falls into line. In other words, you take out the leader, the bad guy, and the rest of the regime will then follow along. No, that is not how the IRGC operates in Iran. And Iran is not Venezuela. So, we are now on day 93 of this war that was supposed to last no more than 28 days. And Donald Trump is making no progress toward a ceasefire deal. As I record this video right now, gas prices are rising. Oil prices are surging in the markets. As I record this video right now, the cost of everything across the United States and anything tied to gas or diesel worldwide is rising sharply, and it is painful. So, I want to walk you through the chain of events that unfolded last night and this morning in a very calm and simple way. There are many complications involving countries that dislike each other for different historical reasons, but the events we witnessed last night and this morning are actually fairly easy to explain. So, for some context, Israel is currently facing significant pressure. Bibi Netanyahu, in particular, is under heavy domestic pressure to strike Lebanon harder because certain groups in Lebanon, such as Hezbollah, have been launching attacks on Israel again and again. The casualty count right now is that 35 Israelis have died since the start of this war, with Lebanon, Hezbollah, and Iran all launching attacks against Israel. Bibi is under a lot of pressure. Now, let me remind you, thousands, even tens of thousands, have died in Iran, Lebanon, and other parts of the Middle East because of actions involving the United States and Israel. During the opening phase of the conflict, 171 school children were killed. So, the death toll is tragic on all sides, of course. But Israel is more responsive to democratic pressure than a country like Iran. And right now, Bibi is facing growing domestic pressure to strike Lebanon harder. So there is a steady stream of Israeli casualties taking place right now, where every week it seems one or two more people die under Bibi's leadership, and his credibility as a wartime leader is quickly starting to weaken. The people of Israel are not very certain whether they are gaining anything from this Iran war, or whether they are getting what they wanted from the Lebanon war that has now begun. I mean, Israel is in conflict with nearly every country around it, and that is making the region naturally less secure. Now, just to be clear, the countries surrounding Israel are also striking back. So Hezbollah is not without blame here. Hezbollah is a terrorist organization that has been attacking Israel. But right now, Israel appears to be the side escalating to a level that is damaging any chance of a ceasefire. The people of Israel are starting to view this war as a failure, and once again, domestic pressure on Bibi Netanyahu is growing. Now that you understand that context, you can better understand why Bibi has been continuously striking Lebanon. I'm not trying to justify anything here, by the way. I'm simply trying to explain the dynamics that are unfolding. And if you appreciate the work we do on this channel, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the Adam Mockler channel. But none of this is a justification. I'm simply trying to explain the sequence of events. So, after Lebanon kept getting hit again and again and again, Iran said, "We are no longer going to take part in these talks if the United States cannot even control their damn allies or allies." End quotes. As Joyce explains here, this is a major regional mess. Iran is saying there has been a breach of the Lebanon ceasefire, and, by extension, a breach of the Iran ceasefire, and they are now pulling out of discussions on extending the ceasefire. Number two, the Lebanese government wants a ceasefire, but Hezbollah, which is not under the government's control, is not agreeing to that deal and keeps launching attacks. Then Beirut is hit in response, and the whole region is a mess. Israel is still being hit heavily in the north by drones and rockets. Netanyahu is preparing to respond by striking Beirut after consulting with the United States. So again, that fits into the framework that Bibi is not doing very well in Israel right now, facing strong pressure to intensify this war, which directly conflicts with the pressure Donald Trump is under to reduce these wars. So the incentives between the sides are quite misaligned, very misaligned, and that is pushing an extension and a clear escalation of this war to continue. Saudi Arabia is trying to push for restraint, while Kuwait is caught in the middle. We are back on the escalation ladder. The escalation ladder is very hard to step down from, and it seemed like we were making some progress. Now it's complicated. We were not making progress toward a deal anywhere close to the JCPOA. Honestly, we are not making progress on the nuclear issue or the regime change issue, but we were finding a way out. There was a ceasefire. We were starting these talks to reduce deaths and casualties, which is what you want. Of course, you always want to reduce the number of deaths and casualties in these wars, but that does not stop Trump's supporters from declaring total and complete victory either way. For example, let me show you this tweet from Scott Jennings. It aged extremely poorly. He posted this on May 28th, so that was about 3 or 4 days ago at this point. He said, "Looks like a big win for President Trump and the U.S." Hearing from a senior administration official, this report is true and the U.S. appears to be getting everything we want. Man, that is a wild thing to say. Everything we want. Why would you get ahead of the administration like that and try to declare victory when even the administration is not confirming any deal? He is responding to an article from Barak Ravid, an Axios reporter who often defends the Trump administration. And the article says, "Scoop, U.S. and Iran reach deal, but need Trump's final approval." 2 U.S. officials say. And yeah, look at the fact check here. Iran rejected the Axios report a few days ago, claiming a U.S.-Iran deal has been reached. They are rejecting that report completely, with a source saying it only reflects the U.S. version of events. Then I decided to respond to Scott Jennings today, and I said, "Hey, any updates, man? Do you have any updates on this war that you claim we are winning?" Because Iran has now completely suspended talks with the United States over Israel's strikes on Lebanon, which is very disappointing, but not surprising. Everyone watching this wants peace. Everyone watching this wants fewer people to die. And that is what we have been fighting for every single day on this channel, pushing for an America where we are not sending people off to war or spending trillions of dollars on these endless wars. But what this has turned into is yet another endless war. How many times have we been told by people in government that we are winning militarily against a Middle Eastern country after taking out the so-called bad guy? Yes, we did kill Saddam Hussein, we were beating the Taliban for a while, but that turns into years and years, sometimes decades, of a long counterinsurgency where you are then fighting the Taliban or fighting these terrorist groups and making no real progress. That is exactly what we are seeing right now. And I think this is a good moment to go back to Donald Trump's post from last night at 1 a.m. At 1 a.m., Donald Trump posted, "Iran really wants to make a deal, and it will be a good one for the USA." Already, pause. This has already aged extremely poorly, but he said, "Iran really wants to make a deal, and it will be a good one for the USA and those that are with us." But don't the Democrats and various seemingly unpatriotic Republicans understand that it is much harder for me to properly do my job and negotiate when political critics keep constantly complaining at levels never seen before, saying I should move faster or move slower or go to war or not go to war, whatever. Just sit back, relax. It will all work out well in the end. It always does. No, it does not always work out well in the end with war. I don't know where he heard that, but honestly, I'm not asking for Donald Trump to start using journalists or people in the media as advisors. I'm not even trying to give advice. But number one, we are allowed to ask questions about this war as it is failing. Number two, who I do want to see Donald Trump take advice from is maybe the generals who have been here for decades with experience in war game planning. There is a lot of reporting that the generals who actually have experience did not want Trump to do this as much as Netanyahu did. And guess who Donald Trump ended up following off the cliff? Netanyahu, at the end of the day, the same Netanyahu who is currently extending this war by continuing to fight Lebanon and Hezbollah and breaking down any ceasefires. But dude, this post from Trump is just so extremely strange and out of touch. The idea that we should stop asking questions, or as he calls it, chirping, and then just sit back and relax, is absurd. He says they say I should move faster, go to war, not go to war or whatever. Yeah, maybe you should not go to war in the first place if you think it will end up like this. That is why people like Scott Jennings are really struggling to defend this. Like Scott Jennings is taking a lot of metaphorical hits to the jaw for Donald Trump right now by going out there and lying again and again, and he is doing it willingly. The paycheck cannot be that good where you go out and embarrass yourself unless it is some kind of humiliation kink at this point. He is like, I just love the fact that I get to be wrong about the Iran war every single week. Is that what Scott Jennings is thinking right now? Because he has been wrong every single week. It is not even about him in particular. It is not about one single person or one single MAGA freak. It is about the fact that for week after week after week, everyone in this administration, everyone in MAGA media, has not been tied to facts, reality, or a timeline. They keep saying it will be 4 weeks, then it was 6 weeks. And then they said, be patient. It should be 10 weeks. When Scott Jennings snapped at me that one time, what he said was, you have the attention span of a gnat. After he said, get your hand out of my face. Young people may have shorter attention spans, but we are now almost 100 days into this war that we were told would be 1 month maximum. So I think it is fair for us to ask questions about the timeline of this war, especially when Iran is now pulling back from negotiations completely. That is a good place to end it. I just tried to walk through the full sequence of events and give context. If you appreciate these kinds of calm videos where we go through the news, make sure you drop a blue heart below. Make sure you subscribe to the Adam Mockler channel. I love you all, and peace out.